Nintendo. 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 Nintendo.
Drifting Joy-Con have been playing quite a bit of handheld since. Well, that's good to hear. Welcome,
Nintendo.
one. Welcome, all. How's it going on this fine Wednesday evening? How are y'all doing? Zelda N64 fan, what's going on? Where'd you get the thumbsticks? For that, you just buy them off of eBay. Those are a spare must-have part for any Switch owner. I've only heard a few people say that they've never dealt with Joy-Con drift. As for me, I've gone through 3 different pairs, and they've all had some drifting issues. So that's always kind of been an issue for me. And it sucks too, because Nintendo's usually pretty good about their quality. And I guess something like the thumbsticks may be their design, but not really their manufacturing. So, I mean, it never was a problem with any other old school controller where the thumbstick is soldered to the board. So it's really just this one instance. And it's kind of crazy that it wasn't something like the GameCube or the Wii, or the Wii U, or even the Nintendo. Those controllers are still holding up after 32 years or whatever, however long. Yeah, 33 years even. So it's kind of crazy to think that you could get a brand new pair of Joy-Con that's never been touched straight off the assembly line, and those things could be not working by the end of the week, over the course of the weekend. My first pair, it was the left one. And I also noticed this. I noticed that it seems to be with Breath of the Wild, mainly. I don't know if that game has just an affinity for creating Joy-Con drift, but I've had my thumbsticks and Link be drifting away, and then it's only in that game. Like, I've been drifting, having to keep my finger totally on the stick, making sure that I'm going in the right spot where I want to go. And then other games have been completely fine. Because the last pair of Joy-Con that I got, and those are the ones that I have now, and they are drifting. When I first got them, after probably a week, I put in Breath of the Wild, and I noticed that it was immediately drifting. So I think there's something off with the natural, what you call it? Like the natural calibration of just the sticks themselves. Malone Johnson. What's going on, man? Malone Johnson. Haven't seen you around before. How are you doing? Are you new to the channel? Maybe you've seen a video before. I always ask everybody kind of just where they found my channel, where they found the live stream, etc., etc. If you were just browsing YouTube, if all of a sudden it popped up in one of your videos. Because I know people get bored. They'll be watching YouTube, and I'm the same way. If I'm watching a video and then I see something that pertains to me that's like a live stream, usually it depends how many people there are in the live stream. That's why I'm hoping, you know, I can start being more consistent with my streams, just to garner a small audience. That way when people are bored and they see my stream pop up, they kind of have an incentive to pop in and say hello and see who else is in the stream. There's a lot of streams where people make friends with one another, have conversations with one another, and that's one of the things that I hope to achieve here with this channel, with these live streams. Hopefully someday we have you two watching. I count as person number 3 because I'm looking at the comments from my cell phone right in front of me. Because I'm too lazy to pull my other TV up and hook it up, even though my computer's right here, the wire's going behind this TV. And I actually have my secondary screen. I had it hooked up for the longest time, never used it. Now that I would use it, I don't even bother hooking it up, because I finally have gotten comfortable enough with streaming that I figured out how to make the gameplay on the TV the exact same as it would be. And it seems that over time, streaming using the Elgato, that I almost don't even need to change the station. 1970 Scout 800. Man, how you doing? Crystal Kite. You guys are showing the love. All 4 of you. I give you guys a big thumbs up. You guys are all awesome. Haven't seen you in a while, 1970 Scout 800. But you and me, we've been sending comments back and forth on the Spawn Wave channel for, it's probably been almost 2 years now. There's good stuff on Switch, but it does take sifting through trash at times. Yeah, I mean, people make it sound worse than it is. Me, ever since I got my Switch, when there used to not be weekly eShop games, there would be one game that would come out over the course of a month. And then it'd be like 2 games over the course of a month. But, you know, I've been good at every day, every 2 or 3 days. Even if I don't play my Switch, sometimes I pick it up just to see what's going on in the eShop. And I just browse through it and I look at the stuff that's coming up, because there's a lot of stuff and there's a lot of crap. And there's a lot of people that report on what's going to be coming out on the Switch, whether it's months ahead. But then there's also plenty of games that nobody has ever even talked about that would be decent, whether it's like some kind of action game or another pixel art 2D platformer action game. And sometimes people don't even talk about them, and you'll go into the coming soon section and they'll just be completely left off until like the day of. I don't understand what the protocol is for that, but there's been even big games that don't show up on the coming soon tab, and then they never show up on the coming soon tab, they just drop. Like when South Park Fractured But Whole came out, I kept looking for it because I wasn't exactly sure what day it was coming out. And a week, 2 weeks before it came out, I looked at the coming soon, and it never made an appearance. The night before, it still wasn't on the coming soon tab, and then the next day, it just was on the out now tab. And I wish I had made a list of all the other games that have done that throughout time, because there's been a lot of them. People are like, hey, this is coming out tomorrow, and it's just not in the coming soon tab. And quite a few bigger titles too, so I don't know what the protocol is with that. Yeah, the Switch kind of does make it easy to give older games like a new life on it. I think it's just a lot to do with just the hype, and like, you know, there's a lot of, I guess, posers that just kind of, you know, you see all these YouTubers and they get, not all of them, but some of them get like review codes, and then there's some people that just buy every new game that comes out, and you know they don't ever play all of them. And I've been guilty of that too. I bought a lot of games that more stuff came out and I just never really got back to it, or there wasn't enough space on my SD card, so I would delete it for a bit and then I'd have to go back to it after the hype of it coming out has gone by. But in the past year, I've been a lot better about just buying games. But now with all the games that are on sale randomly, like earlier I bought Doom 3 and it was like whatever, $3, and I'm like, damn, it's like 8.7 gigs. I'm like, I gotta make some space for that. And I started it up, I started playing it. I almost bought Doom 1 and 2, and even for the price, they're worth it. At some other point, they'll probably still be the same price. But I just figured for the extra money, it's like I'm gonna buy them and I'm gonna not play them. So it's not like these are the last times that, yeah, I almost bought that QYO blaster a couple times because it has that, it's got that kind of Cuphead ripoff imitation style going on. And then it's kind of also like, I forget, it's also pretty similar to another game. And then it's, you know, similar to a lot of the vertical shooters from back in the day. Yeah, the 3 Doom games for $6, I mean, you can't go wrong. I've played Doom, and I've played Doom 2. I can't honestly say that I ever beat them. I never had them on PC, but they've been on every system imaginable, so it's like I've played the same you go to sit down, maybe you play it for 15 minutes, maybe you play it for an hour and 9 minutes. I've played like that same giant beginning chunk of the game so many times that I'm like, yeah, for $3 more, but then it's like I don't really have the space for it, and then it's just another thumbnail sitting on my Switch. And it's not like the games won't ever be that cheap again or won't be around again. I mean, we're going into the digital era where it really is a shame that a lot of certain games won't make a comeback, and they haven't been re-released in, you know, since they came out, whether it's on the 360, so you're talking from like anywhere from 8 to like 13 years ago, or something like the Wii, or like GameCube games like this. I mean, they're just apparently, they're never getting re-released, or so it seems. But yeah, three Doom games for $6. I mean, how can you go wrong? I thought Doom 64 was gonna be like $15 or so, and then that showed up on the coming soon tab like months and months ago, and I was like, $5? That's not bad at all. And that's a game, I never played it, but I kind of thought, it was more of an original game, whereas it's kind of like a up-resed kind of mixture of like Doom 1 and 2, so it doesn't really look too different, but I'm definitely going to get it, and I'm definitely going to play it. And I don't know if you can see, but speaking of, if you guys have a local Walmart, you can see my Doom poster there. At the local Walmart, your local Walmart, not all Walmarts, but most, they have up in the electronics section, like up on the counter, they have this free like throwaway magazine. I forget the name of it. I got it. It's downstairs. I forget the name of it. But that's where I got the Pokemon Sword and Shield poster, which is the same on both sides. But that Doom Eternal poster, on the back side, it just has black and red, and in the middle it just says Doom 64. And most people, they don't really bother with that magazine because it's free, and I think they show up and they're on the electronics counter. And I mean, I have 2 Walmarts that are close to me, and one of them I've never seen them in their electronics section, but I always get that magazine just to see what's in it. And I haven't seen it for the past few months. I'm sure it came out and I just never saw it, but I got the Sword and Shield poster, and then I got that Doom Eternal, and I was thinking of going back because it's a free magazine. And though it's filled with a lot of ads and there's like a few review pages that have stuff that you would buy in Walmart. And I mean, it's nothing really super special, but it's cool that it's free and that it's a physical magazine and that it has articles and news and a few reviews for games and some articles. I haven't really dove deep into who makes the magazine or who the writers are, if they're anybody like reputable or even worth caring about what they have to say. I've seen Unravel 2 on sale. I mean, it's been on sale for like this past like month, it feels like, but I've seen it on sale a few times. That's another game that I feel like I would want to play, but I would probably just end up playing something else and forget about it. Seems like a good 2-player game though. Oh, come on, fish. Guys, I can't wait for the new Animal Crossing. I didn't think I would be like so fiending for it, but thinking about how it should have been out in November and how it's not, and that it would have already been out, and that never happened, and now we're so close, but we're still so far. What games have I put the most time into? Still, my most played Switch game is Breath of the Wild. But one of the things I hate though is that when I got the Switch Lite, I basically got it knowing that I would use it and that it would basically be my kids. And it pretty much is. I don't really even touch it anymore. You know, he plays Mario Maker and Smash Brothers and, you know, occasionally like Fortnite and like Mario Odyssey. And after putting my account on the Switch Lite, that way any downloaded games I have, I put on there. And sometimes he checks them out, sometimes he just doesn't really care. But they're on there. And since I did that, the playtime has been split up. So even when that Switch is off and mine is on and I'm currently playing something, it's not right at the top of the list like I'm playing it now. It'll just be at the top of the list like I just got done playing it. And then they don't update. You know, the Switch was doing perfect with that. It counted every hour when it first came out for like the first, I don't know, 8 months or a year almost. And then they switched it. And then it just kind of rounds your hours up. And that was one thing that I never really liked. I have like 180 hours in Breath of the Wild. It's another game I need to go back to because I got the DLC and I haven't completed it still to this day. I did I did a couple of the side things. Like I got like I think one of the quests was for like the special pieces of armor and stuff. You get like the Tingle's outfit and like, I don't know, three other full sets of armor. Oh, I'm super hyped for the new Animal Crossing. I just think it looks so good, and the colors, and it's just a game that whether you decide you only want to play 10-15 minutes a day, or you actually want to play for like 3 hours a day, it's just so colorful, and it just seems like a perfect game to just live in. And during the summer, I'll just be sitting out on my back porch. I have my like gaming couch out there, so maybe at some point I'll set up a little table and I'll bring my PC out and I'll stream from my back porch with dogs barking and the sound of traffic going by. I've thought about streaming from my roof, which is right outside this window here, and it's the roof to my my living room, because it's basically it's an extension, and it's not completely flat, but you could definitely stream from it. And I've thought about doing the stream from the rooftop, as dumb as it sounds, as little as people, you know, the end user would get out of it. I guess it would be more for me. So that's been a thought. I do have crazy, dumb ideas, and sometimes I don't go through with them. So at least sometimes I use my better judgment, or laziness prevails and keeps me from doing something stupid. How have you guys all been doing today? Need to get back to Breath of the Wild. The thing is, you beat on. Oh, you did it on the Wii U. Nice. I thought about buying Breath of the Wild for the Switch because even though there's probably more copies of it than with Twilight Princess, like right now, my GameStop, they don't ever have the oldest systems that they have there is PS3 and 360. They don't ever have, and maybe like DS and Wii, but they have they have Twilight Princess on the GameCube, and the case is kind of beat up, and it's in their little glass DS case. And I've thought about asking just to see like what the back of the case looks like, and then asking to see the disc. But they have it priced at $59.99. And that's actually a game that I only have started, but I do own it on the Wii. And that copy was only like $15. But I would rather play it with the GameCube controller. But I did buy a Wii a couple weeks ago. It was the system only for $5 at the Goodwill store. So I bought it. And then last week I went to GameStop and I got the power and the video cable for it. And then I started modding it, and I got GameCube games running on it. And for some reason, my thumbstick, I bought like 3 different ones trying to get it to run smooth. And I would put like 1 or 2 games on it, they would work. And then I'd put like 3 or 4 games on and it would work. And then I would load it up like 32 gigs, each game being 1.4 gigs. I would put like a dozen or more on there all at once, and then it would just, it wouldn't load onto the Wii. So I was actually playing Smash for GameCube, and I shut the Wii off. I took my thumbstick, I loaded some more games on it, I went back, and then when I turned the Wii on, just a black screen. And in most cases, it seems like that can go wrong from modding your Switch with the soft mod, but it also seems that it can do that from the bad Wi-Fi or Bluetooth module. So now behind me I just have a dead Wii just kind of sitting on the desk. Me, what I do for a living, at the moment, I'm just being stay-at-home dad. And I've been doing that for about the past year. And, you know, it's got its pluses, but it's also got its minuses. And, you know, financially, we don't do too bad, because my girl, she ran into a pretty good job that basically pays about what me and her were making before I quit my job. And she basically works 3 12-hour shifts. So we do get a lot of downtime, but then there's also the fact that, you know, instead of having 2 days off, some people make enough money that they don't ever even have time to spend it. Whereas I guess there's more downtime because money is not endless. So, I mean, I try to be smart with my gaming. And a lot of times it comes down to if I want the next newest game, like for Switch, I'll trade, you know, Smash Brothers. Because at GameStop, if you have like pretty much Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Brothers, or Mario Kart 8, most times, sometimes you'll only get like $30 or like $33 for trade-in credit, but there's certain times, and I did this when I got the Switch Lite, I traded my Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and Mario Kart 8, and I got, I want to say, I think it was $42 trade-in credit for one of them and $45 for the other. So that right there was like half of the Switch Lite bought just from trading those two in. And at that point, I was just like, I'll buy these back at some other point, or I'll trade something else going into that. One of the Metro games, Digital Foundry Review says it's possibly one of the best ports to Switch. Yeah, they probably did say that. Oh, nice, you're playing City Folk. Twilight Princess is such a great game as long as you push through the beginning bit. I think I'm gonna hack my Switch soon. Yeah, that's why I wanted to get Twilight Princess for the GameCube, and I was gonna start playing it, but then my Wii died, so now I'm trying to hack the old Wii U right here, but that has like more steps to it, because you can do it kind of just straight through the Wii U, but then you need a bunch of other programs, or you can go in and hack the virtual Wii. And then there's so many different ways to do it, and all the different YouTube videos, there's 90 different ways to do it that span every single Wii U hardware update. Let me see it. That looks kind of gross. What's up, Far Too Easy? Far Too Easy Gaming, everybody. Say hello. How's it going, man? You hacked the VWii and the Wii U part of it. See, the Wii was just nice and easy. You just put like that one like bin file, you put the SD card in, you boot it up. It doesn't boot all the way, you pull it back out. You put those like the Nintendo Dole file with the 2 images with it, and then you just plug it in and you're just good to go. I mean, the Wii U's dead now, so I skipped over the part with the blocking the IP address and all that, because they're not updating it anymore. And right now it's on 5.5.4 or 5.5, or no, I think they say it's on 5.5.4 or 5.5.4. But mine, even after looking at it the other day and going to system update, it only would go to 5.5.3. So I don't know. But I did get the homebrew channel going on the Wii U. And then I had a headache and I shut my computer off and I took a nap instead of finishing the hack. But at that point, that's pretty much what I want to do, is just have all the GameCube games on there instead of having to seek them out and buy them. I mean, I went to Goodwill earlier and I found I bought WWF Day of Reckoning for the GameCube. I mean, the disc is, it's beat up, but it'll play. I mean, the GameCube's a trooper. Just get Smash Bros. Brawl game to do what? To do the hack. Where are you going, by gum? I'm making it my business, hipster. I always hate that this Bubbles sits there and calls me a hipster. Especially too because that's like a more current lifestyle / insult. And I mean, we're talking about, 2001 here. Yeah, that's what I was looking at too, because at that point you don't even need a TV. I can just plug the system into the wall, tuck it away, and then just play any GameCube game on the pad. And honestly, like, that's something people don't talk about. I want to finish getting it hacked so that I don't look like a hack myself. But that's what I was kind of planning on doing, was doing a video on that, because yeah, plenty of people still say the Wii U is worth having, worth getting. Or like, if you have it, then it's okay. But it's like, no, the thing, it's worth buying now more than ever. It'll be worth buying in 2 years from now. It'll be worth buying in 6 years from now. Because there's still plenty of them that never got open, but they're not making anymore. And I'm sure someone somewhere has a garage full of a couple hundred boxed brand new systems, and those things are gonna be like $600, $700, $800 in just a year or two. Oh, D-Dub, you're priceless, you know that? You're like a peppy little bag of fun. Yeah, I'm bored. It's still so cold. Yeah. Never want to make your bed. Get through flu season. I take vitamins. Oh, I've heard that as well. I've heard tales of this vitamin C, but I've never seen this stuff for sale anyway. Huh. I wish to try vitamin C. Don't do the vitamin C. It'll fuck you up. The Wii U is, I mean, that alongside the Wii and maybe the original Xbox. I mean, I guess the 360 can do it too, but those are all like, those four are the ultimate homebrew hack, one-size-fits-all machine. I mean, I guess aside from maybe like the PSP, or maybe even like the Vita, which I never owned either of those. And then same for like PS3, PS4. I don't have much experience with those or with their hacking scene. And even the Switch, I mean, there's a few people that do like Switch hacking videos, and it seems like it can do a decent amount of stuff. But it's kind of funny because for the system itself, like now if you don't have an older system and you don't have the old firmware, you can't do it. But even when people see like the videos, all they can do is basically say like it's not like with the Wii where it's just as easy, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna do that too. Oh, if I do this, if I do that, what's gonna happen? You know, is this safe? Instead, people see like Mario 64 on the Switch and they're like, damn it, Nintendo should just have the virtual console. And then everyone's just like, yeah, they should. Damn it. But I guess when the Switch first came out, all you really needed was a paperclip. If I had enough money, I would have boxed mine back up and never upgraded the firmware. And even still, I don't know if it's possible to still hack it. I'm sure someone out there is a master. Maybe someday I can find one online that's already hacked and pre-installed. But I was pretty bummed about my Wii, 'cause I only had it working for a week, and now it's just sitting on my table. And I saw an old video from like, I don't know, 2010, where it was basically the same thing happened for this dude, and it was a black screen, and the video was basically how to reverse input files on an SD card to basically re-back up your NAND if you didn't do that, which I didn't even think about it or give a second thought that that would even be an issue, due to like just the overall success rate that people have had hacking the Wii. So I didn't think twice about it, and he showed that method. But then it's kind of like, well, if your Wii screen is completely black and you're showing it on, on your screen, how does putting files just onto an SD card, inserting that SD card into the Wii, and turning it on, how does that make it go from a black screen to now you can see the stuff on the screen? So I stupidly wasn't thinking. And some other people said, yeah, this totally worked for me. So I put the few files on the SD card, put it in, and it was still black screen. So I'm like, I don't know, I guess it's the Bluetooth module that died on it, in which case it's almost not even worth fixing. See, I thought it had to do with the firmware. I thought that's like what everybody made a big deal about, was it needed to be the firmware. Or playing DS games, bottom screen on gamepad. Yeah, the DS works pretty decent on the Wii U. I guess the biggest problem is just like resolution. Even though, like, I noticed this first because right when I got a Wii U, the first game that I actually bought like off the Virtual Console was Wild World. And even though there's probably at least 12 different screen orientations for the two screens, whether it's on your TV or your gamepad, or both on one, or both the screens on both, or you can do it vertically with the Wii U tablet, like sideways, which almost doesn't really make sense. But it almost seems no matter how you do it, there's no real good way to just to do it for the DS. It just doesn't seem to work that well. Although they had a good idea in mind. I mean, I almost wonder if at some point again they'll try their hand at it again, where maybe it's not forced in a game, but you could choose to play the game still dual screen. Because even though people are like, oh, the DS, the screen is so terrible. I mean, with the Switch now being, HD, like, I can't go back. But in 3 or 4 years, people are gonna be like, you know what? I picked up my 3DS again, and it was a really good system. And they're going to start making videos again. And the hype for buying up all the old games will come back. And then people will be like, oh, I never noticed how similar the DS and the Wii U were. And it's just going to be like the GameCube is now. Like, it's going to become the next sought-after system. I mean, nobody talks about the Wii. People talk about it for, like, hacking and just some of the games that are on it. But you don't really see too many Wii games getting talked about by, like, Metal Jesus, and then everybody's trying to go after it with the price just ridiculously inflating overnight. Like, that just doesn't really happen. You can get a plug-in and hack the Switch for $50. Really? That's one thing I don't really look into. I mean, like I said, when it first came out, first year or so, I saw some pretty cool hacking videos with, like, the paperclip. But then it seems like after it got past a certain firmware and the Switch had been out long enough, people showed different experiments and different things that they were trying to get to work on the Switch. And in some cases, a lot of the stuff didn't really work well. Like some of the 64 emulators, some of those didn't seem to work out too well. Yeah, so this is my house. I really can't believe, like in the direct, the angles that they went to be able to spin the camera like 360 degrees and the amount of detail you can see everything in. I mean, I didn't think there was going to be as much detail, even though they're missing some of the details for certain things, even though some of the stuff, like cloud saves and all that, seems like an oversight, but there's plenty of things that are in the game that really seems like they just nailed it with. And just sitting inside your house and seeing everything is one of them. Because although getting certain furniture, looking at your house, it's cool, I just always thought it didn't really ever make sense to hop on your bed and then just kind of chill, like laying on your bed in this game, for anything more than like 10 seconds as just like a haha, or if you're recording footage, something for that. But now it almost seems like you could decorate your house and actually hop your character's ass onto the bed and then just kind of sit there for a full like 2 minutes just looking at things, or different angles and getting different ideas, or using like the built-in camera and taking like different pictures. That's what I said with the land expansion. I did a video of like things I hope to see for Animal Crossing. This must have been back in like September, and I thought it was, I didn't think it would happen, but I was like, it'd be cool if you could get land expansion, or maybe not for the whole island or really the rivers, but maybe down at the beach you could like expand it out a little bit, or put some land down and be able to walk further out into the water, whether it's just to throw a fishing pole. Literally, I didn't mean to do that. So yeah, then when I saw that, I was like, nice. I mean, even though it was like a wish list, it'd be cool if they did it. I would have bet money that there was going to be no way that they were going to do that, because it's Animal Crossing, and I don't know, even though it would borrow like perfectly well from like Minecraft, I would have bet money against that Nintendo wouldn't do that they would, I don't know, have an issue with it, or it just wouldn't fit with the series, or it was too much like Minecraft, something that they would have just been like, nah, let's not do that, let's just keep it traditional here. So I guess I was wrong. I was right in being wrong, and they actually did it. And it's I don't even remember where I came up with the idea. Like, I must have thought of it from some other game. But it doesn't really even make sense in Animal Crossing until now that you actually see it in the game. And now it makes total sense, and it's almost like the game almost won't make sense after it comes out. It won't even make sense going back to the older games and imagining it without it. But like, my biggest hype thing is that you can just decide to have a river, little pond thing in your backyard during the summer, and then when winter comes, you can just, I guess, redirect the river. But I don't know, I guess it'll be weird because you're not really like leveling up, but along with the Nook miles and stuff, it's like you have these building permits also. So you got to do a certain amount of stuff, or maybe wait a certain amount of days and complete a certain amount of objectives, and maybe a certain amount of time has to pass. But it makes me wonder how much land you can move and when. Can it be totally infinite? Does it max out? Or is it just, you could just do it whenever, or whenever past a certain point after you've already acquired your license and gotten a certain amount? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see it. I just thought it would be cool if you had like a smaller island that started out kind of small with 3 or 4 different houses and villagers, and then you could expand and nicen up your beach and make the land kind of bigger so that more people could actually join. Because that would be the only way, I guess, to make it bigger, which if you were on a real island would be pretty hard to make a small island bigger. It's like, where you're supposed to dig the dirt from the middle of the island, and then you're just sitting in a cereal bowl. Or are you supposed to dig up dirt from the water and then try to soup it onto your little piece of land, and then try to wait for it to dry out, and then once you throw it back in the ocean, it'll just be mud again, and then the water will just take it back to the ocean. Get away from me! Ah, it's the police. Plus, you don't have to worry about being banned if you go online, as long as you do it correctly. Are you talking about for the Switch? Get the Bluetooth adapter for the Switch that lets me plug in. Oh, nice. I didn't know that they even made that, but it would make sense. You're able to use the adapter to your Oculus Go. You can play SNES games with a SNES controller? No way. I mean, you could just buy the Nintendo offered ones for being a valued member of Nintendo Switch Online. Additional fees are required. And you must be a Nintendo Online member and have proof of identification in order to purchase the Super Nintendo controllers. I want to go back and pull the old trailer for the Switch Online service, because it didn't... It's funny the way that it was worded in only one of them. And it was before the service actually came out. And it said... what did it say? It was worded to make it sound like... They didn't necessarily say that these controllers were going to be given to you, or that they were free, but it was basically like, we're making the NES controller kind of available with your purchase of the online subscription. And although you knew for damn sure that you weren't going to be getting no free wireless Nintendo controllers, it did sort of make it sound sort of like they would be given to you with your purchase of Nintendo Switch Online. And they only did that once, and no one really talked about it, but when I saw it, I was like, that makes it sound like they're free, or that you get them for being a member. But then they turned it into special deals or special offerings. And that wasn't really, still, like, where are the deals? Turtles in Time is great. I actually wish I had that. That's a game I haven't played in I don't even know how long. Now listen close, Sprout. Just between you and me, but he taking an official vacation to his newly formed gravestone behind the tree. What was I saying? Oh, there's a job I need you to do for me. Yeah. I guess I'll say yeah. Oh, I've licked a few Switch cards. I've done it with no camera on, just like... I'm like, yeah, that still tastes gross. I had my Beagle lick one, and after that, if I put one up to his nose right now, he'll turn his head. He won't do it. I also did it to my kid too. He was like 3.5, 4 at the time, and he just started spitting. Like, he was like licking his hand and like just spitting on the floor. And I was like, well, don't do that, but I was like, yeah, you kind of have to. Some people make a bigger deal out of it than others. I mean, there's videos of people not pretending, but licking it and going, oh, that's not too bad. And then cutting away to them, like, coughing and being like, oh, I really almost threw up. Like, you know, just kind of being bitches about it. It doesn't taste good. It's not supposed to taste good. But, it's... Well, it depends on which Beagle, because my mom still has Lily, and Pugsley, unfortunately, died. And that was, like, 2.5 years ago. But, then I was at work one day, and Jen sent me a picture of a Beagle sitting on my stairs. And I was like, that's my house. Those are our stairs. Why is there a Beagle sitting on there? And she basically got this Beagle from this mother with like 3 kids, and the Beagle basically was stuck in its crate all day. And I mean, at that point, he was like, I don't know, 11 months or like 13 months old. And he basically sat in the crate from like before school and before work, like 7 a.m. till like post school, post work, probably 4:30, 5:30, 6 p.m. And then it's like, no wonder that the dog was just, you know, badly trained and chew up all the kids' shit. And he's a handful. He's not up here right now. He's a handful, but I mean, all Beagles are, they're fun to pet, but they're quite the breed. They're stubborn assholes. But, you know, once you have a dog, even if other people don't like it, it's your dog. You can't live without him, so. Did he start barking? I'm surprised. If I sit here and just go, hey Riker! Hey Riker! You wanna go out? And he'll be like, run into your door and start barking. gravy. Don't let an old tortoise down. Every mayor deserves an occasional tropical frolic. See, my dogs know how to spell. If I just say the letter that comes after V, the first letter of the word walk, they're like, we know how to spell. You're bringing us out. And they go and run to the harnesses. And they're like, that's my leash. It smells like me. We're going, right? And then when I sit back down, they just like sit there just totally defeated. But dogs aren't stupid. They know English. They know how to spell. So turn your speakers up and I'll ask Riker if that's what he wants to do. And then he'll look at you. And then you'll have no choice but to go and open the door. A cane Corso puppy. He's the skahit. What is a cane Corso? I've never even heard of that. A cane Corso? Well, do come in, have a look around. Feel free to browse, but try not to carouse. Look how fat his nose is here. He's really come a long way. Very well. Show me what you've got. You can have this tuna can, and this apple, and my seashells. Alright, Zelda N64 fan. Thank you for stopping by. Always appreciate you. You're the man. I'll be trying to stream more, but I always say I'm gonna stream more, and then I only do one stream for the next 2.5 months. So hopefully that won't be the case. I'll say that it won't be the case, and if it is, you can hold me to it next time. So hopefully you have a good night, and thank you as always for hanging out with me, doing the thing. I think he already left. It's an Italian Mastiff. I've just never heard of cane Corso. And most people, you know, when talking about breeds, like, I've pretty much heard of all breeds of dogs, even if I don't know, like, exactly what it looks like. I've just never heard of it called that. But it's probably a big-ass dog, I'm guessing, right? You said you just got him a few months back, so he's probably still just a big puppy, or she. Why does today feel like so much fun, woo-woo? You know, I'm not too used to this game, but it doesn't seem like people, well, animals, it doesn't seem like they just move out. But in New Leaf, if I didn't play for 2 weeks, the house just disappears. They just up and leave. I'm wondering if it probably won't be the case in the new game. I'm guessing they're going to give you way more control over them deciding to leave, or them like bugging you about like, hey, I'm thinking about moving away, and I think you're supposed to more so be like, no, don't go. But in New Leaf, I could just not play for a week, turn the game back on, and then I'm like running around, I'm like, where'd that house go? And the house just disappeared out of nowhere. I haven't gotten any, see what I'm getting at? Reor. I want to go and see what this glowing lamp looks like. 65 pounds? I mean, that's a decent sized dog. I was thinking he was bigger, but that's because my mom's friend has a Mastiff, and he's like 165 pounds. Like, he's overweight, and he's getting older, but he was like an adoption. But he's just so freaking big. His head is like the size of a fire hydrant. I swear you could just hit his skull with a hammer, and the hammer would just go ding, and he would just sit there with his tongue hanging out like, what? I mean, he's just a hard-headed, gigantic. He's the massive Mastiff. I've only seen a few dogs that were bigger than him. And one of them wasn't even necessarily bigger. He was just a, what do they call it? Newfoundland? Well, actually, I've seen a few Newfoundlands that were, one was a Great Dane. I mean, I have a picture of me with this Great Dane that, I swear the dog was like up to here. It's like being next to a small horse. But then I've also seen, many years ago, this woman walking two Newfoundlands, and I was like coming up around the bend, and I could have swore that they were two bears. They were like black and brown, and they just looked like bears. Smaller bears, but still freaking huge. And I was like, that's two bears. And even though other people were like, no, those are dogs, I was like, those were dog-sized bears. A farm dog? That's massive. A Malamute. Oh, nice. It's kind of funny, there's like a Joe Rogan podcast segment of him talking about, like, he has this like jogging trailer path routine like around his house, and how he brings like a 4-inch like serrated blade that he keeps like on his leg or whatever. And he was talking about how he had run into a guy who had just been like running off the trail, and he was like, careful back that way. He's like, oh, I just saw some wolves. And then he said that they attacked his dog, and the guy was like trying to find help. And he basically said that him and the guy, they went back up into the woods, and the dog had like walked home to the guy's house, leaving a blood trail. So I guess they went to the dude's house first. But he said that they followed the blood trail all the way back up into the woods, and this one dog fought off like, I think it was 7, 8, or 9 coyotes. And he said the dog was torn to shit. Absolutely needed stitches and like medical care. Like, pretty rough condition, but that son of a bitch fought off like, 7 or 8 or 9 coyotes, and there was just this pile of just bones and blood and flesh just up on this like mountain top of this like ravine. They thought that they could surround this dog, and the dog just took out the whole bunch of them. And Joe Rogan said that it looked like Vietnam. And I was like, that's a badass dog. A dog taking down 1 or 2 wolves is pretty crazy if you think about just wild ones going up against a you know, indoor dog. And then when you think about that same indoor dog taking down like 7, 8, 9, however many, it was between 7 and 9. And the thing was like stalking it, trying to run it in circles so that they could corner it, and the thing was slaughtering them all. You found their heads. I bet at first it was like, what the hell? What the hell is that? And then you're like, oh shit. And you're like, good boy. You just pat him on the head. Let's go and see what these guys are doing. Hi there, come on in. Too busy. Never been a fan of making designs, but some of the work that I've seen people do online make me wish I was good at it. I just know I'm not, and that I won't spend the time to be good. And especially for like the DS, it's just easier to scan a QR code and get it that way. Like this game's fun, but it seems much slower and very limited in the amount of stuff that you can do. I mean, not really limited, it's more like less to do over a longer period of time. I mean, there's people with 15-year-old saves, and they go back to it and just pick weeds, and they're like, this is my town, there's nothing left to do here. So maybe someday my town will be like that. Wish I had a 3DS capture though, because I would just probably play New Leaf instead. At least for the stream. I was debating on this in City Folk, because I started playing that last summer, and I only put like a handful of hours in. And then at one point I went back to it, played it for like a day, went back to it again another while later, and that was pretty much that. Although I was thinking about putting in GoldenEye for the Wii. I actually got that today. About checking it out. Although at the time, it basically got shit all over. Especially because there was that better, like, fan version that was more of a traditional remake of GoldenEye 007. And it got shut down. And then I think there was another version that was... Or yeah, that one's still out there somewhere, but it's basically said to be pretty much done, and there's all those screenshots and stuff, but they can't put it out, so hopefully someday someone can steal it, and it can just get out just enough to where they can't take it back down and make it disappear again. 'Cause that was looking just great. Like, I really wish they would just do a from scratch GoldenEye 007, a fan-made Pokemon that Nintendo shut down almost immediately. I mean, I wouldn't even know which one that is, but I'm sure if you type that in, there's probably 200 different fan versions that had gotten started looked pretty good and then got shut down. Especially because the worst thing is, like, especially now you see these bigger channels and they'll be like, hey, check out this homemade version of this game, and like they're reporting on it after somebody that's pretty much bigger than them already did an article and published it online. And then they're like, I'll put the link down below, you'd better hurry up and play it soon, because chances are Nintendo's gonna send a cease and desist, and then that'll be that. And the thing doesn't even, in some cases, barely even get off the ground before people start talking about it and before it's too late. And it kind of sucks. It makes you wish that they could at least get the thing done before, you know, somebody starts talking about it and then the next person talks about them talking about it. That way, something completed could actually come out versus somebody wasting 9 months doing 2 hours a day, getting just barely the framework of a game started before having to shut it down. And at that point, all their shit is out there. They pretty much know who to pin it on if it ever comes out. And then at that point, the game has to disappear forever. Pokemon Uranium. Pokemon Gun. Well, at least if it was done. In most cases, they don't get done. They just get shut down. Like, one of the earliest games that I remember from my life is Super Mario Land, the first Mario for Game Boy. And I mean, that was literally one of my first memories of my brother playing that and the music. And they, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that, someone did a new Super Mario Brothers version of that. And it sort of looked about right for what like a console version would be. And they said that it could run on the Super Nintendo. Danny DeVito, man, I haven't seen you in a while. It's been a while. It's just like that wind gust. My heart hasn't pitter-pattered at all, Danny DeVito. But how's it going? What's new? How you been? Where you been? How's life treating you? Hopefully it's all good on your end. Things are good as well here. And I appreciate you stopping by on this wonderful Wednesday evening, which I actually have thought today was both Thursday and both Friday. I actually said to a couple people today, have a good weekend. And they're like, yeah, you too. And I'm like, I feel stupid. I had the distinct pleasure of also going to the DMV today, as I was driving around with expired plates from my previous car that I owned. And the plates were up in January. And after putting it off for a few weeks, it was good to know that the plates that I was driving around with were no longer good. And after standing at the DMV for an hour while the woman was talking to the other woman at the other counter, she was trying to figure out, why do you have these plates? She was like, why didn't they just have you renew them? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't have anything to do with getting this car or moving the insurance from the other car. I've just been driving it a lot. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she's like, wait a minute, well, what are these plates from? And I basically told her something that I would find out that was not true. But I thought the plates were off of my old car. And then when she looked at the insurance information that had showed my previous car, that confused the hell out of her. She's like, where does this car come into play? And I'm like, that's my old car. And she's like, oh, okay, so you sold that. And I was like, yeah, traded it. Like, technically, yeah. And then she was like, so these are those plates? And I was like, yeah. And then after like 2 or 3 minutes, I was like, wait, no, those aren't the plates. And even when I left there, I wasn't sure which plates they were. And I was still confused about it. I was like, these are the plates from my other car. But then when I saw the front one and I actually took them off and I saw how dented it was, I was like, wait a minute, these aren't our plates. And I was like, wait a minute, they are. And I was like, no, they're not. And it was a fun experience. You gotta love the DMV. It was much cheaper than I thought it was gonna be. Because at first she said, kind of like, you have the option of, do you want to renew your plates or do you want new plates? Because if you renew them, that costs more than just getting new plates, which a lot of people don't know. And she offered that as a savings tip to me without even asking if that's what I wanted to do. She stated it as a fact that if you get brand new plates, they'll cost you less. And then after going through the computer, she would come to find out that you can't renew these plates even if you wanted to because they're expired. And I was like, well, I've been driving around with them for like 4 weeks now. So I was like, you want them back? And she's like, we don't really take them back. She's like, we would if you have them on you and you are just gonna throw them in the street or something, then yeah, we would take them, but we don't really take them. I'll take them for you if you need to, but no, we don't really take them. I told her, well, I'll come back one of these days with them just to give you a little something extra to do. And she was both jokingly laughing and displeased with me at the same time. She was an older woman, so I like to give the older women, you know, give them that fuzzy feeling on the inside. Make them feel happy and distracted from their terrible life, if only for a moment. So that was the DMV trip. I also hadn't been to the DMV. I mean, I went there probably like, I don't know, a year ago. But before that, I hadn't been there in like 4 or 5 years. When I walked in, there's a security guy standing there with a freaking gun, tasers, mace. And I was like, whoa, back it up. It's just the DMV. Why are we being so serious here? So I had to go to the DMV twice today. I went in the morning. The paper that I had didn't have a signature on it. So I said, screw it. And I went home. And then I went back at 4 o'clock and stood there. They literally locked the door behind me as I walked out. The guy with the gun. And his job is boring as hell. I asked him, how do you get through the day? Because he's just standing there 8 hours a day, pacing back and forth, trying to, I guess, mind his own business while scoping everybody out, while trying not to seem like he's doing that, but really he's just bored out of his goddamn mind because nothing goes on at the DMV except for money and paperwork. And he looked like it looked like his 8-hour shift feels like a 24-hour shift. That's what it looked like. He was looking at his shoes. He's looking at the ceiling. He walked back across the DMV, put some hand sanitizer on his hands, and then continued to rub it on the tops of his ears. He looked over at me as he started doing that, and I just looked away. Just pretend like I didn't see that. And he just looked bored as hell. So I was like, how boring is your job? And he was trying not to answer me. He was trying to lock the door behind me. But he answered me and he told me that it was pretty damn boring. I was about 110% right with what I just asked him. I told him to have a good weekend, even though it's only Wednesday. And he was like, thanks. I was like, that's right, it's only Wednesday. So. Hopefully that story was of value to somebody. And if it was, then I hope you enjoyed that. More to come from D-Dub. Your source. Not the source, but a source. For a whole bunch of different things. Like games, reviews and opinions and discussions and live streams and skits and whenever, wherever I feel like doing it. Don't hold me to nothing, because it just might not happen. That's the motto here on the channel. That was the motto that I came up with. Thank you so much for watching D-Dub. Your source, not the source, but a source of sorts. For all things gaming related. And then I proceed to list a bunch of stuff questionably as if I don't even know what I'm talking about. Like I'm talking about someone else's channel. We do reviews and like, right? We do discussions, right? Video games. Yeah, we play games here sometimes. What do they call this? The live stream. Live streams happen randomly, and sometimes even videos happen as well. So keep on hitting that like button over and over until it turns white, like you never even hit it to begin with. And don't forget to subscribe, which I really wish everybody that had subscribed would have stayed subscribed, because there's been so many times I've gotten 2 subscribers and then gone down 3, and then go up 3, and then go down by 2, and then go down by 1, and then get 1 more, and then go down by 2 or 3 more. And it's like, it's never fully up to date, because when you go into YouTube and you go into the creator studio, sometimes the numbers make sense, the views make sense, and they're basically up to date. And then there's other times where the latest video says it has like 4 views, and then when you actually click on it, you see that there's 7 or 9 or 12. And then it's the same for subscribers. Most times somebody new subscribes and I'll see it just from entering YouTube on my phone. And sometimes I'll subscribe back, or they leave a comment and I'll comment back to them. Then there's plenty of other times where I think people subscribe and I just don't ever see it, and then I never see that person back on the channel again. So it kind of sucks, because unless you have a lot of subscribers, people expect that you're not going to get any interaction, recognition, nothing. When you're starting out and you got like 3 subscribers, I mean, you have to kiss everybody's ass. You gotta be like, please watch my next video. Did you hit the thumbs up? Was it okay? Is there something I did? What did I do wrong? Can you tell me? You're not mad at me, are you? Are you sure? But now I have 172 subscribers or something. Yeah. 172. That number will drive you nuts. It will. I mean, it's not like my channel's anything super standout spectacular, but I've seen worse channels back in that are now, you know, successful, and it's like back in the day they had maybe like 14 videos, and between like video number 5 they were like, oh, we just hit 500 subscribers, thank you so much, blah blah blah. 2 or 3 more videos go by and they're like, we just hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna be doing a giveaway just to give back to you guys, keep it coming. And then 5, 6, 7 more videos go by and they're like, we just hit 10,000 subscribers, we're gonna keep it going. And I look and I'm like, you know, sure, there's a bunch of archive live streams, so even if I say that's about 30 of them, because I don't do too many live streams, you know, you go to my channel, there's a total of like 150 videos. So minus the live streams, I have maybe 110 videos that I've actually edited and put out and all that. And that's less than a video per subscriber. So, math is hard, but the numbers don't lie. They tell you something. I just have to do a couple more million videos, and I'll be just peachy. Things will work out. I'll be just fine. Seriously. Oh, that's you. Your face looks swollen cheek. That's the new in thing. Oh, like that. Wee wee. Oh, don't get all huffy. See, at least in New Leaf, you can hit him with the net. Take that. Listen, that's enough. Move out of my town. I kind of feel bad for the elephant. So he's got the, like the rain cloud over his head. Filthy ogre. I hope they bring back some of that writing. Like, in this one, some of the characters, they call you, like, disgusting. And stuff like that. Unfortunately, with the world we live in today, yeah, but the Switch, people don't even care. The hype behind the Switch is just so, I mean, it's like, it's died down a lot, but for the first year or two, people are like, oh my god, if Grand Theft Auto 5 comes out, we don't need any more games. Basically, that'll end world hunger. And then if it's like, well, Grand Theft Auto 5 is gonna be out on the PS5, people are like, so it's like a 10-year-old game, like, who wants that piece of shit? It'll be in 4K. Yeah, that's cool. You want it on the Switch? It'll be like 500, it'll be like 540p. Oh, just as long as it's handheld and it's on the Switch, like, that'll just, I'll pay $60 for it. Like, it almost defies logic and reason, because the Switch has been crazy with, you know, it's got some decent classic games that have been re-released throughout the years, but when it hits the Switch, it's like an, oh my god, like Turok 1 and 2 for 64 came out on the Switch. I bought Turok 2, and then Limited Run Games, they did their cool physical copy, which looked like a 64 box, So that part of it's sweet, and that's almost the part that people care more about, is the nostalgia for something like that, whether they even play the game or not. And the game almost doesn't really even look like a port, it just sort of looks like a... I mean, it's smooth, it's nice, it's cleaned up a lot, much better than it would be on the 64, but it sort of just ends up with that super smooth emulator look where it almost looks like it wasn't really loved. It was just like had like a current date filter just placed over it. Everything's nice and smooth. There's no more jagged lines. And when it's on the Switch, everyone's like, oh my god, it's on the Switch. I'll pay $60 for Turok 1 on the Switch. And then if it comes out on the Xbox and it's like $10, people are like, that's cool, it's on, you know, Xbox One X or PS4 Pro. I'll wait for a sale though. But then they still want the latest, or the latest talked about old game to be on the Switch. It's just crazy. I don't even know what Ruiner is. I might have looked at it. There's so many games though that there's so many titles I forget the names of. Yeah, no one gave a shit about that game. If the Switch didn't exist, it wouldn't have sold the... I forget how many copies they said Stardew Valley sold. Like 10 million across everything. I mean, it's on a lot of stuff. But if it was never on the Switch, it never would have got that spotlight, and no one would have ever looked twice at it. If you saw it on somebody else's video of like the best games of 2018, and it was like a 30-second clip, they'd be like, what is that, like, DS Harvest Moon looking game? Like, that's like a DS game, or maybe like a indie game on like the Wii U, or maybe even the Wii, or like 360. They wouldn't think about it or be like, hey, is that purchasable right now? They would just not care like always. But I don't know, the Switch is weird. I've been meaning to start doing this video, and it was basically the first idea that I ever had of it for a video, and I thought about it for months, and I didn't even have like a channel or any videos, and it's been pretty much 2+ years since I first had the thought of this video, and I've been meaning to get making it, but I just haven't done it yet. It's basically just about Switch players, owners. Because like people are crying right now for a direct. But they know that they have games that they bought that they haven't even played. I mean, there's one guy I watch. I like his videos. He's got a cool personality. He does a lot of live streaming. But every week this dude's getting 2, 3 like brand new games every week, whether it's on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, or Switch, and he's in most cases getting the fanciest, most expensive, like collector's edition in most cases, because it'll come with something extra, like a lot of Switch games. Instead of paying like $59.99 at like GameStop, you can pay $69.99. The Crash racing game, you'll get like the big box, and they come with like a pair of socks. And he'll do that, and he'll stream the game for like an hour or two. And then the next day on his YouTube channel, it's like, oh, no stream today. I'm just playing this, and it shows like a screenshot of some other game. And he's like, I'll probably be streaming tomorrow. and then like that'll come, and then he's on a couple of other different channels you'll see him on, and then by the end of the week there's a brand new game out for Xbox One, and he's playing, you know, Jedi Fallen Order, and then 3 days later it's like he's playing Death Stranding, and then 2 days later the next game comes out for the Switch and he's playing that, and then a day later he's playing for 3 hours for something on PS4, and then he's starting to try to go back to play some of the older games, but it's like you've only spent like 2-3 hours max on at least 50 different games in the past, I don't know, 3 months. And the guy's collection must just be getting like pretty big. I mean, you buy 2 or 3, 4 new games every week or two. I mean, it doesn't take many months for you to have a pretty fat stack of games that you're not really playing and focusing on. And it's like, I'm friends with him on Switch, so I do see like when he's online or not. But it seems for the most part that he only plays the games when he's streaming them. And that if I actually said, how many hours have you put on like literally like all these Switch games, like it'd be like, you've only played them when you live streamed, right? And he'd have his head like hung in shame, like, yeah, I've only played all of those for literally like 2 hours. And it'd be like, so what's the next game you're buying? And it'd be like, well, on Friday, such and such comes out. And it's like, yeah, and then everyone wants another Nintendo Direct. You got school in the morning, have a great day at school. School ain't fun while you're doing it, but afterwards, you'll be telling some youngsters, like, you know, pay attention in school. So, hopefully you have a good night. And hopefully you get some extra sleep because of it. Because I used to stay up way too late on school nights. And it was only in the morning when that stereo alarm clock would go off that I would regret my decision before making the same exact one the following night. So, Crystal Kite, thank you for hanging out. I didn't even think that you were still here. And, yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Even though I know you're already subscribed. Go subscribe to your pillow. And have a good day. I only meant to play this for like, I don't know, a half hour, maybe for like an hour. I thought about switching it up, but I have the feeling that when I shut this off, since I'm going through the Elgato software, that it's just going to shut the whole stream down. And at that point, I'll just walk away and be like, well, that was a pretty good stream. Versus starting it all back up. That's probably one of the main reasons I don't really live stream much, is I hate setting the shit up. I don't like any part about that. I don't mind it for doing videos and getting videos out there when it comes to live streaming. I haven't found a great way that other people do to best utilize my time. So I'm still doing it this very archaic, probably 2010 way of doing things, and I need to come up with a better method. I also need to start doing the dual stream on Twitch. I like made an account and I just never used it. Because at least there people will find you. On YouTube it's impossible. I mean, it's not impossible, it's just more unlikely. But the first live stream I ever did on this channel, I was quite surprised. It was when Joker came out for Smash. And I wasn't even sure that I was live. All of a sudden I was like, I think it's live. And then like 3 or 4 people hopped in like immediately. And I forget exactly who they were, but I know like 2 or 3 of them out of those like 4 or 5 still hang out on this channel to this day. So they talk about discoverability and how it's much easier on Twitch. But I think the reality is it's just so easy to do, and there's just too many damn people. So my goal is to be able to turn a live stream on and have like 30 or 40 people. If I could ever get to that, that would be great. Once you get past like, I don't know, maybe 100 or 2, it seems to get to be too much. But like a good solid like 100 people in a live stream seems to be the perfect amount. At least from what I've seen. Your results may vary. Let's see, I should go check out the dump. Dump. Do come in, have a look around, but don't touch anything. I mean, I really wonder why they made him be the shopkeeper at first, because it'd be like going to like Cumbies and your landlord is the one behind the counter, like seeing you spend some cash and then being like, you owe rent, you shouldn't be buying this wagon wheel when you could be paying off the house that I lent you with indefinite amount of time to pay it off. It's a lot of jerking. What the hell? I'll just try it on. Let me see. My guy looks pretty with his eye all busted like that. I don't think I'll buy it. It isn't until later in the game, which I think is basically coming to an end with this new one. I think this new one's gonna have so many items that it's almost gonna probably be close to irresistible to buying anything from the start. Because I know in New Leaf, there's a lot of stuff I was like, I could buy that, or I could just pay the house off. That way I can get my house to be bigger. And that way when I start running into cooler stuff, I'll have a spot to put it. And that was the case for a while, but then I started running into pretty cool stuff. But now hopefully you can place everything outside. Because that would be pretty cool. Wow. Wow. Terrific audience. Because you can't go doing that. Oh, what do I have here? What if I just keep that for me? That's the, like the Game Boy. It's like here, I can't go one screen over to this house, right? It's a good thing it's dark. I'd be too mortified to go on the light of day with you like that. Go straight home and lock my door. Thanks. Okay, well. I don't know where she is, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Can't give you back your Game Boy or lend it. I wasn't really reading if I'm lending it or returning it. Endless DLC? Not totally endless. Maybe they could make it so that it's just about endless. I just see it being kind of updated for 2 or 3 years. I mean, unless it's like a Super Smash Brothers Ultimate type of thing where they can port it in 3-4 years to the next system. And keep it going, or if they could somehow port it with like most, or if not all, of your existing shit while still making it be like a brand new game. I kind of doubt that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility, I guess. Be updating it for, I bet they've been working on updates for it that won't even be out for 3 years, and they've probably been working on it for like a year or 2 already. I mean, the game is gonna sell, it's gonna sell 22, 23 million, and then times that by 60. It's a lot of damn money. Wish I could make a game that would make that much money. Wish my videos would make that much money. I just need to dye my hair blue, right? There was at least like a tracker in this game so I can find where this person I've never done too much hanging out on Twitch. For the longest time, I would be able to sort of open the stream, but I didn't actually have the app downloaded. And so you couldn't comment or anything like that. And then I finally downloaded the app, and I didn't really touch it for months. And even then, I don't really watch. I watched a live stream like earlier today, and that was probably the first time in like 2 months. Metallica's funny. I haven't really kept up with them. I like their last album. I actually like that one a lot. When it first came came out, I listened to it a lot of times for like 2-3 weeks, and then I kind of just forgot about it for a while. And I listened to it, I don't know, like several months ago. I was like, it's pretty good. It took them a long time. And then there was the Kirk Hammett, Rob Trujillo Prince cover, and that went well, you could say. You could also say it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Yeah, reaction channels are huge. At one point I thought about doing that, and I still might, of making like 10 or 15 different channels and just doing the reaction, like, oh my god, and doing that, and then just having one where it's just my hands in frame playing with like Ninja Turtle toys, buy them off the internet. That shit'll have like, 2.8 million views, maybe in a month, maybe in a year, maybe never. Maybe it's not that easy, and that's what it would take for me to see that it's not that easy, because I see some videos of some stuff where it's just, it makes you wonder how it got so big so quick. So I've thought of doing basically every type of genre, different channel, and just doing it myself and seeing what the likelihood is of one subject matter over the other, just having more success or taking off way faster than anything else. Because gaming is just, there's just too many gamers. It's so easy to do. That's why it's like, I would never keep up with, like, I'll play Animal Crossing, and, like, the new one, but chances are there'll just be so many people streaming it that after several times, I might just drop off completely from doing it. So it really seems to be that the way to, I guess, win, if that even is a thing, is to play stuff that regular people don't even have access to, because chances are if you get 10 people in the comment section and you say, like, who still has a Super Nintendo, or maybe like a Nintendo 64 game, chances are a lot of people won't. They'll be like, oh, I can emulate it. And not like that stuff's super rare or anything, but like the rare type of games, it's like, how often do you see someone streaming like PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2? Like, you probably see someone streaming Nintendo, Super Nintendo games more so over that. If you stream like TurboGrafx 16, people would be like, man, I never even had one of those. Like, that's pretty cool. And then they'll still probably peace out anyway without subscribing or hitting the thumbs up, so. That's why it seems like once you gain some traction, like I was saying when the stream first started, I was like, people are bored, and if they just see a live stream is going on, it doesn't even really matter what it is. It matters how many people are watching it. Once you have like 30, 40, 50, 60 people are just like, oh, this is live. There's going to be some sort of interaction that they can put their 2 cents in on. If there's only 2 people in the comments, it's like not fun as a commenter when there's so many comments going by you can't even read them. It's like, that's not really too fun either, even though during an have 75,000 people all bitching at the same time and it's just rolling by. That's funny, but no one can be heard, but everyone's still trying to be heard, all typing at the same time anyway. But it just seems if you can get like 100 people, there's enough commenting to what you're doing or to what someone else is saying that it'll keep it going on its own. So it seems like once you get to a certain amount, it can kind of sustain itself to the point where it almost doesn't even matter if you just walk away from the computer for 10 minutes and it's just your chair. If there's enough people talking amongst themselves, it's view time for you. Like they'll stay put and they'll stay chit-chatting or arguing or fighting, whatever they're doing, they'll stay doing it. But it's just a matter of getting those 50, 60, 100,000 people. Yeah, but it's like, you sit in front of a drum set, how do you react? Like, I've thought about doing that, but like, I mean, I bought a mixer at Goodwill store like a month ago. It was like $8. And I don't use it because I'm just using a USB microphone, but I could be using it. And I could run like the console audio into it. And then if I actually had like a real stream setup with, you know, someday if it's ever gets to the point of like donations, or if you type a certain thing, like something will pop up on the screen. I mean, I dabbled in doing some of that with like Streamlabs, and it's just, I don't know, it's not fun, it's frustrating. So instead you just get this, where it's just kind of bland, nothing changes. Oh, hey, there you are. What did you want? I want to deliver this Game Boy thing. Got my Pokemon Pikachu back. That's right. I want my finder's fee. Oh. I got some paper. Here. Like YouTube, they used to let you do like giveaways, and it would make people subscribe, even though those people wouldn't stick around. Thanks, man. I'm trying. I'm probably going to bed soon. Streaming isn't hard to do, but definitely after like 2 hours, you get like, definitely, you ever see them people doing like a 24-hour stream? It's like, yeah, you gotta get up out of your chair once an hour for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It'd be different if I was just sitting here not even talking, like no headphones on, just playing the game, but you forget to blink, your eyes start burning. Anybody can do it. It's all in practice. It's almost easier to do because it's not like you're standing in front of people. You know, I'm not good at talking or anything by any means, but I just make shit up and I just kind of go with the flow. But I don't find it that hard. It's more of just, if I sat here for the next 3 hours, I would feel like that guy at the DMV. I would feel like I've just been sitting here for like 12 hours, just with time just dragging ass. Thank you, do come again. So I see we've gained one viewer. Yeah, I haven't checked those in a long while. I actually reached out to Zach Orcutt probably like, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. I reached out to his mom to see if she had... I basically was like, right, you were the one that filmed and uploaded like the PNA show, or I think that one. And she was like, yeah. And I asked her if she by chance had any other video clips, and she was like, no, chances are like, nah. And I was like, oh, okay. I figured I would ask, because I know I've got, you know, even in my drawer right here, I was looking through some pictures recently, and I have like pictures of like Warsinium in their youth. And if I sent them to them, that'd be something they'd be like, oh man, that's so, like, that's awesome. They'd be like looking at it, like sending it to each other. And those guys probably haven't talked to each other in years, just like the same for us. And it'd be like something that just throws them back into the day, like a reason to reminisce and get back together for a minute. Just be like, oh man, those were the days. But I don't even know how to get a hold of like any of those guys, so. Alright, I think I gotta go save this. I was playing City Folk, but goddamn, one of the things that just sucks about the Wii is using the Wiimote. I always hated that thing. Like Mikey B and Bob both had a Wii, and I always just hated pointing it at the frickin' TV. Even with like the Wii Motion Plus, it doesn't make it much better. City Folk, or for Animal Crossing in general, you need a thumbstick to move your character around, and that's one of the things that I hated the most, is that you have to sit there and point on the screen to where you're going, and that just gets old real fast. It might be a carpal tunnel-ish. The Dunkin' Hell's Coffee. Is that one on YouTube? Because from what I remember was Cowboys from Hell, DOA, and I think 10 Years of Pain, but it was like the very earliest like PNA version, where Pat's kind of just randomly yelling the vocals, at least differently than what they would end up being when the song was actually done. But like, I have all the demos except for the one with Pat and Moreau's on it. It's like I said, I tried going onto MySpace, where there's Reflection Inspection and 10 Years of Pain, but they don't play like MySpace is so old. Those songs are like on there. It says, I think, that you can download them, but it's like you can't. They won't play, they won't react. Like the placeholder's there, but the file is just gone. And I wish I could remember what that other site was. For years and years and years, I remembered what the name of the site was, and I tried finding it. And for the life of me, I just couldn't. But it had like the picture of like you, me, Phil, and Gamari. And it had like the Wall of Sleep cover and the Mega Man Zero cover / the Final Fantasy VII boss theme ending part. And I think there was like 3 or 4 others. There was like a total of like 6 songs on it, and I just I don't remember. I figured you did, because no one else has. I'm like, Gamari, he asked me from time to time, do you have any of the older ones? Yeah. Mikey B, I have demos of music he made on his laptop, and like I'll still see him from time to time. He'll be like, you still got that? Because I'll burn him a CD, and within like a month the CD is completely destroyed on the floor of his car because he doesn't give a shit. And I'm like, I was always the archiver, because like if I didn't care, who the fuck else was gonna care? And it basically stood to reason that like nobody, because if you see Lesnick, he'll be like, dude, do you have any like the old, you run into Morose, do you have any of the old demos? I've only seen Pat really once, and I think he asked me the same thing, like Morose, I think he thought I was like messing with him or didn't want to deal with him or something the first time he asked me, because I was like, I have everything but the one with you and Pat on it. Although I know if I actually went through all my burn CDs, which are like 4 or 5 100 disc binders full, I know at random times from just burning CDs in like iTunes, I would put the whole album of whatever, and then I'd put some of our songs or other bands and like drop them at the end. So it would take going through hundreds of CDs and going past or backwards from track 1 and trying to see what the last few tracks on the CD were. And I always was terrible about labeling it, because any album that's the full CD of a band, like The Sword, it'll just be The Sword with the album title, and then when you put it in, you'll realize that there's 8 extra songs that aren't from that album, but I never would list them or write Widow demo or anything like that. So I know they're there somewhere. I mean, even in this drawer right here, I have one of the VHS tapes when I had tried making that like tour video, kinda, where it had the feeling of kind of like an old school band DVD, like before the title screen, where it shows like all the highlight reel before it actually, it needed like a real title screen before actually getting to it. But I did that, and then there's one of those mini tapes, which I don't even have the VHS for anymore, where the tape actually plugs into that and then it opens it up. But they're sitting right here in this drawer. And then at some point I still have to go through, I've been meaning to do it, and then also just kind of avoiding for years, going through the Tyco video cam footage from back in the day. The band? What do you mean? Yeah, I have that too. I actually have it right here. See, I got Widowbone Chronicles, Practice with Lesnick, DOA Behind Glass, Widowbone, DOA Dead Side, Practice, 1205. So, but that's not the year. I don't think, because that was like 2006, 2007. Lesnick had his kid in 2007. Or he quit the band in November of 2007. And this has recording / Skyborough. And then it just says Jam. And then beat up label and a pair of 3D cinematographic Capital One Bank Radio City Christmas Spectacular The Rockettes 3D glasses. Oh, the one that I thought that I had is actually downstairs. But there's this one, Jams at Phil's Grams, Gmar Vocals, guest Dave Kerrigan, filmed by T-Flag, Deadside, Gray Skies, 08, Derek, Chris's Trailer, Chilling, 0708. And that's the Blunt Room videos. Oh, my handwriting's always been atrocious. That's the same as it was. I have like a mixtape cassette from middle school that had like Slipknot and stuff, and that was from like 6th grade, and the handwriting is exactly the same. That's about that. And then I know somewhere there's another 1 or 2 of those mini cassettes. Yeah, that's not where I thought that was. Let's get this back to this. Yeah, I have all the cassettes. There's, I don't know, 13 of them, 15 of them, with random bits and bobs. Good old Nick King on the bass guitars. I think that's the only one that's in this small pile I have here. But there's like 8 or 9 different variations of that picture. Like there's that Lesnick shot at Bob's party, the graduation. I'm not sure who that is behind the horns. And then I think that's Philly Blunt walking with the cup in the background. Maybe not. Nah, I don't think that's Phil. Yeah, that's pretty much it right there. Oh, I just crushed the GameCube cable. But yeah, that stuff's just been sitting in that drawer for, God, years and years and years. It's always been safe though. Alright, I'm gonna do a quick test here. Let's see what happens when I shut the GameCube off. If that will be the end of the stream. It just might be. Okay, it's not the end of the stream. Well, alrighty then.